Hey everybody, welcome back. Joltin' Jimmy Siokas here. You know, when I'm not teaching or making these videos, I work part-time hitting home runs for the Royals.
Now batting for the Kansas City Royals.
I gotta get to it.
Number 27.
Don't you worry. I'll be right back.
Right fielder, Joltin' Jimmy Siokas.
This ball is crushed.
I used to be this buff.
As you can probably tell by now, I like to link these videos with my childhood dreams.
Joltin' Jimmy, you're my hero!
And on this episode, we're going to learn all about linking verbs. But first, let's brush up on everything with a lightning round review! Batter up! Play ball! What is a subject? It's a noun, the main noun, or what the sentence is all about. What's a noun? A person, place, thing, quality, or idea. What's an action verb? It's something you can do. Pitch, hit, run. What's an in punctuation? A period, a question mark, or exclamation point. What are the 5 requirements of a complete sentence? It's got to start with a capital letter, end with a punctuation, have a subject and a verb, and the sentence has to make sense. What are the pen steps? Pick out a formula, explore words, note the words, search and check. And finally, what are the steps for the search and check? Key in on the beginning, ending, and meaning of the sentence. Game call! And that review list is going to keep getting longer every episode. To tell you a little bit more about today's lesson, we're going to link you to my twin brother, the play-by-play analyst, Joseph Siokas. Thank you, Joltin' Jimmy, and congratulations on that 500-foot Titanic clout to take the lead in the ball game. George Brett would be proud. And speaking of King George, we have a direct link to the Hall of Famer. Georgie, how you doing?
Hey Jojo, thanks for linking me.
My pleasure, Mr. Brett. And how about Siokas' performance today?
The kid's got talent. Probably would have hit 400 back in 1980.
Are you linking him to your past?
I guess you could say that. Why are we using the word link so much?
Well, it's interesting that you said that, because on today's episode, we're going to be learning about linking verbs.
Oh, I thought we were going to learn about the pine tar rules. I'm out of here.
Jimmy, so far you've worked with sentences containing action verbs. On this episode, you're going to learn that there's another type of verb called a linking verb. Our word of the day is going to be link. Link itself can be a noun or a verb. As a verb, it means to connect or join together. You'll also learn how to find linking verbs and subjects using the search and check step, just like you did with action verbs on the last episode. So it sounds like they're going to learn how to write sentences with linking verbs. Absolutely, Joe. Well, first let's distinguish what an action verb is. It's a word that shows what a subject can do. And there are 2 kinds of actions that an action verb can show. Do you know what they are, Jimmy? Of course. The action can be something a person does with his body or something a person does with her mind.
Some actions a person can do with his body are swing, hit, and run. Some actions a person can do with her mind are think, want, and plan.
All the sentences we worked with last episode were sentences with action verbs. But there's another kind of verb called a linking verb.
Linking verbs are words that link the subject of a sentence to the word that describes the subject.
I take it linking verbs are pretty important. Absolutely. Without linking verbs, we'd all be talking like cavemen. He pitch. They cheaters. We champions.
Linking verbs, good.
No. Linking verbs are good. It's funny. I've actually interviewed some of your teammates that spoke in that fashion. Well, as you know, there are 9 baseball players on a field. And there are 9 linking verbs. How about that? Coincidence? Perhaps. Here's the 9 linking verbs. Am, are, is, was, were, seem, be, been, and become. What about who's on first? What's on second? I don't know. Third base!
Take it easy.
Just kidding. We all know that who and what are not linking verbs. But now we're going to go via satellite to some people around the world and one who's out of this world, and they're going to introduce themselves using the linking verb am.
I am English Ella.
I am Everglade Eli.
I'm Nassau Noah.
A linking verb links the subject to a word that describes.
Linking verbs can be used for more than just introducing yourself.
I am by a castle.
Here we see the subject linked to a place she is standing by. Linking verbs can do so much.
How about that? Real royalty, a swamp kid, and an astronaut. Right here to help us with linking verbs. And don't forget about that talking robot.
Thank you, Jolt and Jimmy. Can you tell us the linking verbs in these sentences?
Is, was, and seems.
Yes!
And what about the subjects?
Baseball, pitch, and hitting.
Great job.
And as you can see, the linking verbs link the subject to the words that describe it.
When a word links a subject to another word that describes the subject,
we say it shows the state of being of the subject. That is, a linking verb helps the reader understand what the subject is like or the state of the subject's being.
Now that we have 2 types of verbs, we can say that a verb is a word that shows the action or the state of being of the subject.
man, this feels like a dream. Say hey, did you ever play at the Field of Dreams?
As a matter of fact, I did once. Well, why don't you take us back there for a quick review of the difference between action verbs and linking verbs. Now that we know about linking verbs, we're going to tweak our PENS strategy a little bit. Pick a formula, explore words, and note the words will all remain the same. But when it comes to the search and check step, the first part won't just be to ask if there's a verb. It will be to ask if there's an action verb or a linking verb.
2 different kinds of verbs now.
From there, it's the same as before. Root out the subject and key in on the beginning, ending, and meaning of the sentence for a capital letter,
Hoorah!
and in punctuation, and to see if the sentence makes sense.
Now let's go to the instant replay and do one more quick example.
Step 1, pick out a formula. We'll stay with SV, one subject, one verb. Second, explore words. Let's go with baseball. And I'll use the linking verb become, but we'll change it to became. Next step, note the words, which means to just write them properly. Baseball became the national pastime. And finally, search and check, which, as of now, has 3 steps of its own. First, ask if there's an action or linking verb.
Yes!
Put an LV above it since it's a linking verb. Then root out the subject. Who or what became? Baseball became. Put an S above it.
Great job.
Finally, key in on the beginning, ending, and meaning. Do we have a capital letter?
Hoorah!
And end punctuation? Does the sentence make sense?
And to help you remember all this, I put it into a song. Teach me all of the pen steps. Teach me and I'll know how. First thing is pick out a formula. Then ask if there's a verb, it's a phenomena. Then you root out the subject. The next step is 3 in 1. Key in on the beginning, ending, and then the meaning, and you'll be all done. Never had a single singing lesson. Can you believe that?
Never had one lesson.
Well, it's 2 outs, bottom of the 9th. Now it's your turn to use the pen steps to create your own simple sentences containing linking verbs. We want you to write 9 sentences using each of the 9 linking verbs 1 time each. That's a different linking verb in every sentence. Let's go!
Here's a perfect example of what we're looking for. Label every subject with an S and every linking verb with an LV. Now, with some of the linking verbs, like be, been, and become, you may have to add a word like will, have, or has before it. That's fine. And remember, you can't copy any of these examples. You have to come up with fresh sentences on your own. When you're done, your teacher will tell you how to turn in your work. You'll need to score an 80% or higher on each and every writing assignment we do before you can move on to the next lesson.
Before we let you go, to give you a little better idea of what 80% looks like, about 80% of the earth is covered in water. About 80% of humans have perfectly good, healthy organs. About 80% of dogs are cute. About 80% of American teens will spend about 80% of their waking hours looking at a phone or a computer tablet. And don't forget, about 80% of the time, old Jolt and Jimmy are going to find a way to get on base.
Man alive, what a drive! A grand slam homer that ain't no jive.
And I dare say that was a near perfect game. Thanks for tuning in. We'll see you next time on the Writing Workshop.
Don't everybody thank me at once.